Hello, everybody. Tracy, Mrs. JDog Flanagan with you here today. I'm the co-founder and senior vice president of JDog Brands. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Tactical Treasures podcast powered by JDog and Vet TV. Our podcast gives veterans, mil spouses, active military members, and military family members a voice in the veteran space to speak about their service, how they're affecting their communities post-service, and they share with me a tactical treasure from their past that has shaped their journey in their military career, business, or life. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Mike Richman, who is a communications specialist in VA Veterans Experience Office, which improves the customer experience for veterans enrolled in VA and VA healthcare. In this position, Mike leads a radio outreach program that aims to educate veterans on important benefits, programs, and services. And the heart of the program is the public service announcements that he and colleagues have recorded. In the Veterans Experience Office, Mike also writes and edits blogs that are posted on VA News, VA's main blog website. Mike was previously the managing editor in VA Research Communications, where he wrote content for the VA Research website, primarily articles for VA Research Currents and VA researchers who served. Prior to joining VA in 2016, he worked for 15 years at the U.S.-funded broadcast agency Voice of America. Mike, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm pleased to have you and look forward to speaking with you.
I look forward to it as well, Tracy. Thank you for having me on.
Sure.
I'm very eager to talk about the radio outreach program.
Yes. So you've worked in government service over 20 years. Could you talk to us a little bit about your background and walk us through what led you to your current position at the Veteran Affairs?
Sure. Well, I'm a journalist by trade. I have journalism degrees from the University of Maryland, Temple University in Philadelphia, American University, and I've worked in various journalistic capacities for more than 30 years. And I'm also, in addition to my work at the VA, I'm the author of 4 books. So I'm a journalist at heart, journalist by trade, and I'm also I have broadcast skills, having worked at the Voice of America, where I started shortly after 9/11. And as you mentioned, I worked there for 15 years, primarily as a writer in the newsroom, but I also voiced broadcast scripts for radio and TV features. So that gave me some great experience in the broadcast realm. And then from there, I segued to the Department of Veterans Affairs in VA Research Communications. I wrote a lot of articles on research-related activities, a lot of studies going on issues that are of health-related issues that are of help to veterans. And from there, I jumped to the Veterans Experience Office, which, as you said, is focused on improving the customer experience for veterans enrolled in VA and VA healthcare.
Wow, how exciting.
This message is from the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. Did you serve in the military? If so, you can obtain a free lifetime pass to more than 2,000 federal recreation sites, including national parks, wildlife refuges, and forests. Getting a pass is easy. Just go to the National Park Service website, nps.gov, or the National Park Service app.
So you work at communications specialist at the Veterans Experience Office for VA. What specific work are you doing there?
So in Veterans Experience Office, I launched a radio outreach program, which, as you described earlier, is the heart of that program is the public service announcements that are focused on improving or educating veterans on important program services and benefits. And there are currently 41 public service announcements that are on the radio outreach page, which we have created. And so that is a large part of what I do. I'm also involved in editing a lot of guest blogs that are submitted from our partner organizations, and those blogs eventually end up on VA News, the primary blog site for the agency. So those are the 2 main activities that I do within the Veterans Experience Office. I'm very, very excited about the radio outreach program. I think it's a wonderful way to educate veterans on things that are going on For instance, we just did a 6-part series on Veterans Day and Veterans Month, 6 different PSAs that are geared toward that part of the year. One was on the origin of Veterans Day. Then we had one on Veterans Day ceremony at Arlington National Cemetery on November 11th. Then we had one on all the hundreds of free meals and discounts that are available to veterans on Veterans Day. In another PSA, I explained the difference between Veterans Day and Memorial Day, which are often confused. And
yes,
another PSA, I urged everyone to thank veterans on Veterans Day and Veterans Month. And then in the 6th PSA, that was about the number of living veterans today, not just the total number. There are more than 18 million living veterans, but I broke it down into past conflicts, post 9/11, Gulf War, the Vietnam War, Korea, and World War II. So all of those figures were in that PSA. And there are other PSAs that are on the page that are very important. VA home loans, what they do for veterans and their availability. I did a series on the PACT Act. That's on the page as well. And as you know, that's extremely important. Warning veterans about financial exploitation. There are a lot of law firms and other businesses out there that will try to take advantage of veterans, particularly elderly. The Veterans Crisis Line and what to expect when calling the Veterans Crisis Line number. The Thrift Savings Plan, that's the full federal government retirement plan, but how it applies to veterans and how they can fully take advantage of that. Free lifetime park passes from the U.S. National Park Service, VA careers for veterans. Veterans, primarily a male population. I did a PSA on prostate cancer, watching out for the signs of prostate cancer, urging male veterans to get that PSA test regularly. And also the VA's Million Veteran Program, which is a genetic-based program to study various types of health conditions that could affect veterans. And that program, interestingly, is nearing 1 million veterans enrolled. So I will update.
Oh, wow.
Right, I will update that PSA once that program hits 1 million.
Wow, that's really amazing, the topics that you cover. I love that. And so how long are these PSAs that you do? Are they a certain amount of time or?
Yes, they are. On the page, on the radio outreach page, they're all broken down to 60, 30, and 15-second segments. So anyone can go onto that page, which is news.va.gov/outreach/radio, and download any of those PSAs as MP3s. And our goal, in addition to educating veterans, we want those PSAs to be picked up by podcasts and radio stations throughout the country. And there are many podcasts and radio stations who do air them right now, such as Wreaths Across America Radio, which I'm sure you're familiar with.
Yes.
Many of the podcasts that are part of Wreaths Across America Radio are airing them. Jeff Pierce has been a wonderful person for me to share this information with, and he has disseminated those PSAs among the programs that they broadcast internally, but also the other podcasts that air on Wreaths Across America Radio. So he's been amazing in this whole endeavor. And then there's other podcasts and radio stations around the country that are picking them up. So that's great. That is a primary goal of ours. So, but in answer to your question,
that's awesome.
Thank you. In answer to your question, 15, 30, and 60-second segments. Then for our partner organizations, which is separate from that page, we'll do whatever they want, such as there was an organization in the Atlanta area that was throwing an event that was related to educating veterans, enrolling veterans in VA healthcare and educating veterans on other issues. They wanted to promote that event. I did a 15 and a 30 for them that they then shared with radio stations in the Atlanta area. So those particular types of PSAs, they can be formatted to the liking of the partner organization that we're working with.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's great. It sounds like you're doing amazing work there. And I'm happy to hear that, podcasts are kind of picking up these little spots because it seems like it's extremely important information that needs to get out to our veterans. Hello, viewers and listeners. Are you a military veteran or military family member and looking to own your own business? If so, go to jdog.com and check out our two veteran-focused franchises, JDog Junk Removal and Hauling and JDog Carpet Cleaning and Floor Care. Our franchisees nationwide are always looking to hire fellow veterans and patriots. JDog is the world's largest military franchise system with hundreds of locations nationwide. We are nearly 90% veteran-owned with the goal of reducing the veteran unemployment rate to under 1%. Check us out. Go to jdog.com to learn more. Now, back to the podcast. Do you have a tactical treasure that you'd like to share with us today? Let's kind of dive into that.
A tactical treasure. Could you give me some leads on that?
Tactical treasure is just like a motto that you live by or a passion of yours that kind of helps you along your way in your journey in your life.
Sure. Well, I think the harder I work, the luckier I get. Okay. And what I mean by that is you create your own luck based on how hard you work. I mean, nobody except your parents is basically going to help guide you along in life or with your career. I mean, they're going to be there for you, but others are not so much. You have to prove yourself in your career and in your profession. So the harder you work, you're going to create great situations for yourself. I think that's a great motto that I live by.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah. We are all masters of our own destiny, right? Based on how hard we work and what our dreams are. I totally agree with you. That's a great treasure, great motto. So do you have any final words for our veterans that are possibly listening to this? How can they find out more information about the VA radio outreach program and all these PSAs?
Sure. Just go onto our page, news.va.gov/outreach/radio. And any veteran can listen to any of the PSAs that are on the page right now. As I mentioned before in describing a few of them, I mean, it's like a cross-section of issues on these topics that can help veterans. So I urge them to go on to the page and listen to those broadcasts and really become acclimated to a lot of the benefits that are available through VA, but not only directly through VA. Like I mentioned, the U.S. National Park Service has those free lifetime park passes for veterans. And I understand in some circumstances, even people in your car can get in for free on a regular basis too. So
great. So after they, maybe listen to a PSA, do you, I know you give information, but do you give information on how to act on these public service announcements?
In the public service announcements, yes, absolutely. There's usually like a, go to VA Gov and search Veterans Day, for instance. Mm-hmm. There's always like a call to action in some way at the bottom of the PSAs that leads one to understand where to go to get more information.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. That's great. That's great.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for coming on, Mike, and sharing everything that you did with us today. It was a ton of information and really excited to hear everything you're doing. I think it's great what you're doing to try to get this information out to our veterans. I think a lot of them, have no idea how to go about certain things or how to find the resources that they need. So I think it's great what you're doing.
Thank you very much, Tracy. You're right on with saying that a lot of veterans don't know exactly what's available to them out there, but there are so many resources available through VA, not only the radio outreach program, but VA News, our primary blog site, has so much information on it, and the VA website. So there's just a whole lot of information out there that we hope veterans can take advantage of.
Yeah, that's great. Mike, thanks so much for joining us today and sharing all that you did. It was really amazing. And we have, two little PSA spotlights that we'll be doing as we finish up our podcast. So we'll make sure we get the word out.
Thank you very much, Tracy.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you, you too.
Bye now. Hello, viewers and listeners. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Tactical Treasures podcast. We just finished up a very enlightening conversation with Mike Richman, who is a communication specialist in the VA's Veteran Experience Office. The Veteran Affairs has produced a series of public service announcements aimed at educating veterans on important benefits, services, and programs that are available to those who serve. There are PSAs on many different topics, ranging from food insecurity, the new Veteran Crisis Line, how the U.S. National Park Service is now offering free lifetime passes to veterans, and much more. You can listen to and download the PSAs by going to news.va.gov/outreach/radio. Again, thank you for joining us. You can find our Tactical Treasures podcast on all your favorite podcast platforms as well as Vet TV. We are now airing on Reach Across America Radio on Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern and Saturdays at 1 p.m. Eastern. You can also find Reach Across America Radio on the iHeartRadio app, the Odyssey app, and the TuneIn app. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again on another podcast. Bye-bye now.